From 128 teams down to 4. That's where we stand as we get ready for this USL 2 National Semifinal. It's the champions of the West, FC Tucson, taking on the champions of the Midwest, Peoria City. Welcome into the broadcast, everybody. I'm Cody Roskins. Alongside me, Griffin Leonard today. We've got a spectacular matchup for you as we'll take a quick look at the bracket. These 4 teams remain: Seacoast United and Asheville City SC. On the other side, we'll await the winner of this matchup in the National Championship of the USL 2. Griffin, we're at Shea Stadium in Peoria, Illinois. A picturesque day. We were a little worried about some rain. We did come prepared this time with the tarps and equipment to make sure we got a good show off today. But one of these 2 teams is moving on. The other's going home.
Yeah, well, the sun stayed out for now. We're hoping it remains that way, of course, Cody, but an opportunity for one of these teams to book their spot in the title game, and couldn't ask for a better environment. 2 teams that wholeheartedly deserve to be here, and I'm excited to see what goes down here in the 90.
Both these teams have slain a number of number 1 seeds to get to this point, and as we talked to a few of the coaches yesterday, seeding numbers really don't matter at this point. It's just grit, determination, and who wants it just a little bit more. Last night, Peoria City edged out one of the perennial powers, Flint City. FC Tucson took down a fellow Cinderella number 2 seed in Project 510, both of which quality opponents.
Yeah, and both of which quality games as well. They were a little bit scrappy. Neither team necessarily looked dominant, but they got the result they were looking for, and now they find themselves in this spot. But for both teams, but Tucson particularly, I'm looking forward to see what they come with offensively. Both goals that they scored on Friday's match were just kind of loose balls, tapped in, maybe not necessarily as well worked as I'm sure they draw it up. And I'm excited to see what they've gone with in training and trying to find some chances on this Peoria defense.
Now, to get through to that national championship spot, these 2 teams will have to have impact players play big. First, for the visitors, FC Tucson.
Yeah, well, Paul Cagliari scored one of those tap-ins on Friday against Project 510. He's been really good in the forward position, and for an FC Tucson side that's looking to go to their first national championship, you got to rely on your striker in big spots.
Now, Peoria City will get some help back today. Abasa Aramiao is back and active for Peoria City after serving his 1-game suspension for the double yellow. But Luke Persenico is the man that makes things go for Peoria City.
Luke's been absolutely insane. I mean, Persenico has been just on the receiving end of nearly every ball, it seems, constantly putting himself in a good spot, and it's so well earned. One of the best forwards in this Central Conference, perhaps in the entirety of USL League 2 with the form he's been in. He has goals in his last 3 games, looking to make it 4.
One of these 2 teams will move on. The other one's going home. It doesn't get much better than this as we get set for Peoria City and FC Tucson. With that, fans, welcome back to Shea Stadium here in Peoria, Illinois. I want to take a quick minute to thank some of our sponsors that make this broadcast and let's like it in the future possible. Peoria City is powered by the House Barbell Club, the official presenting sponsor of the club, located at 7920 North Summer Street in Peoria. Get 24/7 access, group and personal training and more at the house. Peoria City fans, if you're looking for affordable home and auto insurance, look no further than FC Allstate Insurance Sang Safanavong Agency, located in the heart of Peoria. The FC Allstate Insurance Sang Safanavong Agency has 6 full-time staff members offering more than 24 years of friendly and knowledgeable insurance experience. Call or text the FC Allstate Insurance Sang Safanavong Agency at 309-682-6610 to get a free auto or home insurance quote. I'm Cody Roskins. Alongside me, Griffin Leonard. Griffin, one step away from a chance at the whole thing. That's all that really needs to be said.
It's all on the line, Cody. A nice little crowd here on this Sunday afternoon to take in what should be a thrilling 90 minutes between 2 teams that are in form, and looking forward to it.
I want to welcome any viewers also from out east, Seacoast United and Asheville City SC fans, if you're tuning in and watching, waiting the perhaps possible winner of this matchup. I want to thank you for tuning in today as we get ready for the lineups and national anthem. It's a beautiful day here at Shea Stadium in Peoria, Illinois. A little worrisome, some early indications, showed some showers coming in, but they've stayed away, and hopefully nobody anywhere's doing the rain dance. Both teams continuing to line up in front of us. Griffin, it's a beautiful day, and at the end of the day, one of these teams is going home, one of them's moving on.
Yeah, and that's playoff soccer for you, and it's a shame, right, Cody, because these two teams have come so far, but at long last, the team's taken the pitch, and we'll get to an exciting 90 after the anthem.
We'll take a quick pause as we give you the pedigree and prestige of our lineups and national anthem.
Gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise if you are able. Gentlemen, please remove your caps and face the colors atop the grandstand with your hand over your heart and join Kaylor Miller as he sings our national anthem. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Officials for today's game are Igor Bike, Shane Richards, Peter Mallett, and Stephen Cowell. Now let's meet the starting 11s, beginning with our visitors from Tucson. In goal, number 1, Nils Roth. Number 3, Elliot Forestier. Number 4, Ellis Jones. Number 5, Thomas Gray. Number 6, Lars Walchik. Number 7, William Arneson. Number 9, Paul Collieri. Number 10, Joao Belmudez. Number 11, James Jennings. Number 16, DeAndre Pickett. And number 24, Jonah Kawamura. Head coach for FC Tucson is Sebastian Pineda. Now to the starting 11 for your hometown, Peoria City. In between the pipes from Paris, France, 1, Sammy Slimmy. From Durban, South Africa, 3, Josh Reddy. From Norwich, England, 4, Charlie Dickerson. From Accra, Ghana, 5, Abasa Oramiao. From Crystal Lake, Illinois, 6, Tommy Coughlin. From Roatan, Honduras, 8, Jose Gomez. From Williamsburg, Virginia, 9, Justin Wilson. From St. Charles, Illinois, 11, Luke Persenico. From Louisville, Texas, 14, DJ Kulai. From Morton, Illinois, 20, Wes Gibson. And from Herad, Denmark, 23, Jonas Lishoy. Head coach for Peoria City is Mike Pay.
And there you have your starting lineups for both FC Tucson and Peoria City. Want to kind of table set how each team got to this point in the season. Obviously, first for the visitors from FC Tucson, 7th postseason berth in the PDL/USL 2, their 5th conference finals appearance last time out, seeking their first berth in the national title game today. They finished 2nd in the Southwest Division this year with 26 points, had a pretty good mark against the champion Ventura County, allowed 2 or less goals in 4 straight matches, and the man at the bottom of that graphic, you see Lars Walczek, going to be a big reason why this team moves on if they do so.
Yeah, well, Tucson have been really, really good as of late. They're in a tough division out west, but just like Peoria have on the other side of the pitch, they've gotten this far because of their talent, both in the midfield. You mentioned Walczek. You've got Kawamura starting today. He did not feature in the starting 11 on Friday, so we'll see how he fits into the central midfield. But a quality Tucson team here in the middle of the pitch.
Now for the home side, Peoria City, 2nd USL 2 postseason berth ever, and they've made a deep run all the way to the national semifinal. Their offense, potent at times. They're really good at home, 3.4 goals a game in their last 5 matches. They beat the Heartland Division champions, the Des Moines Menace, for the first time in program history back in the playoffs in round 2 of the USL 2 postseason. And Luke Persenico, goal total, I guess, on the bottom of that. We'll need updated just a touch. But that young man scored in each of his last 4 in his last 3 contests as a whole.
Yeah, and because of that, it would almost be easy to say that Persenico's carried this squad to this point, but it hasn't been the case. This team all around has been superb. Now you have Abasa coming back into the central defense. He'll be joined alongside Wes Gibson, who is absolutely extraordinary on Friday against Flint City. And it will be a tough defense for the boys from Tucson to break down. And on the other side of the ball, you got to defend Persenico and DJ Kulai and the rest of the offensive company.
It all starts here in the semifinals for the USL 2. The second semifinal taking place later this afternoon, 7 o'clock, I believe, Central Time, where Seacoast United Phantoms and Asheville City SC will crown their side of the brackets champion. Winners of the 2 contests today will obviously play for the national title game. I want to break down the uniform matchup for you today. For Peoria City, they will start working from the right side of your screen to the left. They are wearing the all black and gold trimmed with gold numbers kits. Opposite of them, left to right, it'll be the visitors on the scoreboard, FC Tucson, in the all grays with white trim as the 309 roars to life. Fans still making their way in. We're anticipating a very good crowd tonight. Maybe not quite as good as the 2,000 plus we had here back on Friday night, but this will be a home advantage for the Carp.
Yeah, and anytime you have the 309 right behind in support, it is that 12th man, so to speak, and they've already roared to life. We haven't even started yet, but Sammy Slimmy giving them a little bit of acknowledgement as he ran to his posts as we get ready to get started.
DJ Kulai will have the opening kickoff for Peoria City as we're underway in this national semifinal. Josh Reddy, long advancing pass towards the back line. It will be Luke Persenico and Jonas Lishoy playing his second game at right back with the absence of Fritz Volmar. Pass undersent from Reddy, and it's Lars Walczek, one of the big guys that the coaching staff from FC Tucson said is going to have to play their best today in order for them to get through. Long ball over the top. Wes Gibson tracks it down and will head it back to his goaltender, Sammy Slimmy, a man out of Campbell. What little wind there is here at Shea Stadium is blowing from right to left across your screen. Played back, danger for Roth, and he will send it out of play for a City throw-in.
And the matchup to watch here early on, Cody, the Peoria offensive front is so quick. They're going to build quickly and advance the ball. The press is going to be difficult to deal with at times. What Tucson are going to want to do is they're going to want to control this game in the midfield. You talked about Walczek earlier. He's just alongside Jennings and Kawamura in the midfield. If they can slow down possession, control the ball in the middle of the pitch, then they'll be able to keep the Peoria City offense from really getting in their groove.
Here's a man that impressed yesterday, Joao Belmudez. Going back outside. These are two number 2 seeds that have gone up the rough way of the mountain, so to speak. Throwing a number of powerhouses along the way. You could argue Peoria City's had the slightly tougher path, taking down both the Menace and Flint City. But make no mistake about it, FC Tucson's here for a reason as well. Took down Ventura County, which is no small thing to snuff at. Took down Project 510 in their last match. Flatirons as well. Here's the captain for Peoria City, Charlie Dickerson, giving it back to Josh Reddy. A man who's back in his natural position of the holding midfielder, as last time out he was playing center back due to Abasa Aramia, who's back today for City, being out with the double yellow suspension. Luke Persenico, he'll put on a rip, and it curls. Never really got off the grass, and it will belong to Roth.
But it's early signs of life for the Carp here. They're working from the left side, a little bit of a trap on the near touch line, but they break out of it, push it centrally to Persenico, who finds some space, just can't really get the contact. Kind of came off the bottom of the boot for him from the top part of the box.
Advancing ball in behind. Aramiao is going to be the first one there against Cagliari, and it will belong to Peoria City. Jose Gomez couldn't quite get a good first touch on it. Now here's some momentum from Walczek. Belmudez. Back to DeAndre Pickett. Finds a nice seam up the middle of the Cagliari. And he's run down by the captain, Charlie Dickerson. And Slimmy will smash his right foot into it.
And you'd think a big guy like Charlie wouldn't be able to be as sneaky as he is on defense sometimes. Coming in from the left back, all the focus is on trying to get around Abasa in the central defense. But Charlie just comes in from behind, pickpockets him, and steals possession away.
Throw in from Pickett. Dickerson gets the header. It will fall to Kawamura. Forestier undercooks it. LaShoy poked forward. Here's Persenico. We'll wait for the reinforcements. Tommy Coughlin, a little over his skis. Because where Peoria City was really good the other day was the counterattack defense. The counterattack offense is really the only reason they had a win as the result against the match against Flint City, and they'll be counting on that counterattack today with some tired legs, but some guys also getting some nods back as Abasa Aramiao is back on that central spot in the back line.
Well, and that's certainly something that was expected going into the match on Friday. It was a Flint City team that was expected to overpower the Carp at times, and it was more how are they going to react and push for opportunities when they're given that.
Ball whipped in, headed away by Gibson. Forestier. And a foul against Coughlin. 5 minutes gone here in half number 1. Peoria City and FC Tucson playing for a chance in the national title game. They will await the winner, whoever comes out of this match, against the other semifinal of Seacoast United Phantoms and Asheville City SC. Joao Belmudez on the free kick. Lined into the middle of that defense, hauled in by Walczek. He scored from out here shouldn't say last game, but last time he scored, it was from distance in their, not last playoff game, but playoff game prior in the quarterfinals.
Well, and that was from distance, probably 30 yards or so, but Walczek on his left foot, unafraid to take the crack at it early. 6 minutes in, I don't mind it in a scoreless tie, but we'll see if Walczek perhaps elects to move a little closer in on goal before taking his next crack.
Seen 2 shots from distance for Seneco and Walczak. Both tried it early. Coughlin will hesitate and play it ahead to LaShoy. Makes a run in behind from the right back spot. There is Forestier. Ball loose. Walczak swings it outside. Tucson content swinging around their own end. They've done well to work out of traffic. Here's Ellis Jones, a man who had a critical stop in their last playoff match in the conference title game of the Western Conference. Saving a goal from Eric Duncan that would have seen that game effectively should have been 2-0, but was able to hold it level. And who knows, that lone save could have been enough to get him through.
Yeah, no, it's certainly worth the talking point because I believe at the time it was 0-0, and then they put up the penalty at the end of the first half. But if they're able to go up 2-0 into that break, then the wins out of the sails for Tucson. Not saying that they couldn't have come back from 2-0 down, but it certainly would have been an uphill battle, and who knows if they'd be playing in this match right now.
Justin Wilson playing on against Joao Bermudez. Ellis Jones trying to chip it in behind, and that will go to Jose Gomez. Back to Dickerson. Peoria City on their heels here a little bit. Taken in by Bermudez. Dangerous spot, Bermudez. Didn't really have it all to himself, but some space to work with, decided to pull the trigger.
Well, and that all starts with the giveaway from Charlie Dickerson, and obviously it's not Dickerson's fault necessarily. He was put in a bad spot with the pass back to his own corner flag, kind of just had to clear it, and the clearance didn't get very far out of the zone, but a nice chance on the left foot just dragged it wide to the near post.
Wes Gibson, man who earned the Man of the Match honors for Peoria City back on Friday in their conference title game. Armia will take some space. Armia, this is the center back finding some room. Plays it in behind to Persenico. And a little too overcooked.
Yeah, Armia a little bit out of his comfort zone there, but he looked confident, controlled on the ball. Initially, the diagonal to Persenico looked to be a pretty good one, and I thought the grass was going to slow it down and keep it inside of the end line, but it just rolled out of play.
10th minute here in half number 1. DeAndre Pickett. Ellis Jones. Again, no captain for FC Tucson today as Kenchila was out of the lineup today. Ross sports the captain's band for FC Tucson. Josh Reddy will take some space. For Seneco making the run forward, and he's knocked out of his run. Near side, Dickerson whipped inside to Wilson. Oh, nearly kissed it off the post.
And that is such a difficult header for Wilson. A beautiful touch and a ball in from Dickerson, and it was just maybe a tad bit high for Wilson to deal with. He gets a really good strike on it, and at least from here, it was just so close to that back post. We just had to hold our breath, and it just flares wide.
Nearly 1-0 for the Carp, but a bullet dodged by Tucson. Now Gomez makes the tackle in. Gets it all the way back to Sammy Slimmy.
And that's good stuff by Gomez to challenge without fouling. Even though he doesn't get the ball, he forces the heavy touch, which then can be cleared away by his teammate in Reddy.
Now near side to Jose Gomez, a man that's played a lot of minutes here in the postseason. He's been one of the men that have been banged up. It's in on Persenico, still free, and it takes the one hop into Roth's lap.
And it's interesting because we saw a little bit of the press from Tucson on Friday against 5-1-0, but not a whole lot of pressure from this visiting side here in the first 10 or 11 minutes of this contest. And it's allowing a lot of time, a lot of space for these over-the-top balls that have come dangerously close to an opener for the home side.
Falls to Abasa Aramiao, man out of Ghana and the former MLS Academy prospect out of the Philadelphia Union. Battled some injuries, ended up mutually agreeing to part ways with the Union Academy, and has found work here and there, now finds himself here in Peoria in the USL 2. Wes Gibson, he'll try one over the top. DeAndre Pickett. That was a big key from this coaching staff of FC Tucson. They said Peoria City is so good at winning winning the second balls so in the midfield that their back line is going to have to win just about every header tonight to have a real chance at it. All spat up in the air, Kawamura. Ball floated toward Josh Reddy as Kulai nearly ran that one down. Something we haven't seen a lot of in this postseason, at least with you and I, Griffin, a lot of possession for Peoria City.
Yeah, they certainly have controlled the possession in both and honestly all three parts of this pitch. They've been able to set up attacks, and as mentioned earlier, just not a lot of pressure.
With the pirouette. That'll sail into the stands, and it'll be a Josh Reddy long throw.
And even when they do put a man on the ball, you have players, playmakers like DJ Kulai, able to just kind of spin around there and make something happen out of not really much.
Soon to be sophomore for Bradley University. He's playing on his home field in the fall from Louisville, Texas, and the Ivory Coast. Here's Josh Reddy's long throw. It's a ton of altitude under it toward Abasa. Falls to Jose Gomez. Gomez with some move and a dangerous free kick spot for Peoria City.
Well, that's textbook there from, I believe that is Gomez, yeah, that was able to draw the foul. He's able to push the ball past Walczak, and he's not really looking to drive by him anymore there. He's looking for the contact, but Walczak overcommits to the stand-up challenge, takes him down, and now a pretty tantalizing ball here from 30, 35 out that maybe a little bit deep to go for goal here, Cody, but certainly with a lot of bodies in the box, dangerous.
Keep in mind with this 1:30 kickoff, Roth is essentially staring straight into the sun. So until a cloud comes to help him out, he could have a little trouble tracking this. It will be a three-man wall for FC Tucson. Gomez and Persenico over the ball. And Gomez lines it over the top, swatted away by Roth. What a stop. Keeps the game level. They do go for goal, but Gomez and Roth couldn't find much between them.
Yeah, well, and that is a pretty stellar save. That's about the best hit of the ball you could ask for Peoria City, up into that top corner with a lot of pace, but because of the distance of the free kick, enough time for Roth to get over somewhat comfortably and make the save, and it's out for a very long throw-in.
Again, coming into this playoff series, this header finds some loose grass for Dickerson. Now Tucson tries to break out. He's typically the backup goaltender. He's earned all but one of his starts here in the postseason. Chance for Tucson on the front foot. Coughlin working on and gives up the tactical foul.
Well, and they had Cagliari streaking down the middle of the pitch. He had beat Wes Gibson in the middle of the field and was onside by a step or two, just unable to pick out the pass, and they do get the foul out of it, just obviously now do not have the numbers.
Ball chipped in behind, and Slimmy calls off Abasa Aramiao. That threatening advance for Tucson comes to nothing. switch to Wes Gibson. So we've seen 3 really good looks at goal, 2 from Peoria, 1 from Tucson thus far. This ball over the top. We'll stay with Peoria City. And for the time being, DeAndre Pickett. Coughlin, his effort there saves possession for Peoria City. As James Jennings, your impact player from the last Tucson match, nearly came away with that. A lot of bodies forward for Peoria City. Gibson waiting to make a move, and now Cagliari thought he had it, and will stay with Peoria City.
Yeah, and that's going to be a really interesting battle to watch, Cagliari versus Wes Gibson, as we watch this match progress, and obviously most of those battles will come on the other side of the pitch, but at time, the 2 fighting for possession, Peoria win it.
It's a 4-4-2 right now for FC Tucson. They've got those back 2 lines packed in pretty tight, making it hard for Peoria City to play anything direct. Able to find a spot to Charlie Dickerson. And the offside flag is up. Seen more of that from the Carp this postseason. Charlie Dickerson joining the attack.
Yeah, and he's done well on that left flank. We've seen Persenico move to the right so often and make himself available. And, well, Justin Wilson and DJ Kulai certainly have the ability to cross the ball in. A lot of times we've seen the strong left foot of Charlie Dickerson get involved in the attack.
And Coughlin nearly gave it a run for its money, but the scare will force it out of play from Roth. Sebastian Pineda hauling out instructions to his side. He played for FC Tucson in their first stint in the USL 2. And he was the assistant for the Arizona University women's soccer team. You see that more and more. Assistant coaches at either women's programs or lower level Division I programs finding their spot here in the USL 2 to get some more experience. "19 minutes gone here in half number 1. These 2 teams, again, playing for a spot in the national championship of the USL 2. Ball in behind, Aramiao is their first. And Dickerson, golf swings it more or less out of his own danger area.
And that's a much better clearance from Dickerson than the one we saw about 10 minutes ago. He gets it vertical, gets it up the pitch, and he gives his attackers an opportunity to take the ball off of the defense.
Tommy Coughlin, all sorts of space to play it forward, tried to get it to Kulai, and well done by the Tucson defense. Here, head coach Mike Pay of Peoria City hollering at that front line, making it it's too easy for the back line right now of Tucson to move it around where they want. And that's something that he asks from everybody on the field. Doesn't care if he's a forward or not. You're going to defend. DJ Kulai softly collects. DeAndre Pickett has it.
And I think the stem of Pay's frustration here just comes from the fact that Tucson haven't been able to create much for themselves as of the last few minutes. Peoria have controlled possession and controlled the pace a little bit. But the center backs of Tucson, when they've been on the ball, have just had a little too much space.
Working against LaShoy, big carry forward. Still loose for Cagliari, chipped backside toward Bermudez. Dickerson meets him on the summit. Oh, and now this long advance to his college teammate and DJ Kulai. And Kulai, it will belong to FC Tucson, but a near dangerous connection between the 2 Bradley products.
Very, very dangerous. Outside of the boot and perfectly into the run of Kulai, who had a very tight angle to try to get around his defender. He pushed the ball up the pitch, and then some shoulder-to-shoulder contact right on the touchline. in which the ball was sent off of the Carp attacker.
And getting up and down is how Peoria City has won their couple of playoff games. And so maybe that's something we want to try and switch this match into. So far it's been a lot of slow build from each other's back lines. Gomez going down, and a foul going against James Jennings. We haven't had many of them this first half. I want to announce to our fans at home, we'll be joined by managing partner and part owner of Peoria City Soccer, John Dorn, at halftime. Give us an insight into what it means to, one, be hosting this as a club in just its third year, but also on the precipice of playing for a chance at the whole thing. Gibson going over the top to LaShoy, beats Forestier. And that will belong as a Peoria City corner from along that far side.
And that is an excellent job by the right back, because it looked initially like that ball was kind of run out of room and LaShoy wasn't going to be able to hook around his defender, but he's able to get there just a couple of inches short of the end line and just kind of a back heel dink off of the ankle of the defender and right back out of bounds for a corner.
Peoria City went the entirety of the first half without a corner kick last night, or back on Friday. We're having 4 in the second half. They've won a fair amount of headers early in this one. Backside to Abasa. It's poked up. And Belmudez will send it over to Wes Gibson of Peoria City.
And you talked earlier about Dickerson, Cody, getting involved in the attack. You look at the near left side here, and I'm not sure if you can see him on your screen, but he's just hanging out on this touchline. The closest defender about 30 yards, and here we'll see the ball played to him.
Here's Dickerson, one touch towards Wilson. You can see the idea, but just too firm of a pass.
But if they're going to give him that much space, they're going to keep feeding the ball to him, and he looks confident on the ball. That pass didn't work out, just a little in front, but as you said, the idea was there.
Near side to DeAndre Pickett. Kulai wins the header, but nobody there to pick up his seconds. Now here's Lars Walczek. Belmudez feeds it back to Kawamura. Pass through the middle, finds its way through for FC Tucson. Working its way back and running out of room. Played short, shot above everything. James Jennings with a really good run for Tucson, but across that far side, the visitors just couldn't quite connect cleanly.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if that was intentional to get the ball to Jennings there. He was making a run down the middle, and the ball just kind of squirted through the legs of a player on both sides at the same time. Just found its way to the feet of Jennings, who made a good run, and then kind of just got tripped up over the ball.
Here's Abasa Aramiao. It's underserved for Justin Wilson. Comes through. They'll say play on. Caught out of position here are the Carp. Joao Belmudez. Spit forward to Cagliari. Scored a couple of greasy goals in their last match to find their way through to this point. Cagliari, top of the 18, backside. Forestier against LaShoy. Peoria City does well enough to push out that back line just a touch. Cross in. Taken in by Walczek, and Dickerson smashes it forward.
And no shot coming of that chance, but Tucson looking much more comfortable the last couple of opportunities, trying to push the ball into the 18. Peoria's defense getting very compact. They were overloading the left side, which opened up a ton of room on the other side of the pitch, which Tucson utilized. And we'll see if they can stay a little spread out and not get caught napping here on the next major attack for this visiting side.
Jonah Kawamura. It's too tall for Belmudez. Dickerson chipped forward to DJ Kulai. And it will belong to Peoria City. And Justin Wilson will leave it for Dickerson. Wes Gibson. Four attacking high for Peoria City, and that's over everyone. Roth will be there. We saw this in at least FC Tucson's last match. Pretty vanilla first half hour.
Yeah, well, and it was pretty vanilla for the majority of the match. Their 2 goals coming off of kind of just little finicky set pieces, but it's a slow, methodical attack for Tucson. They want to settle this game down. They know how quick Peoria can be on the break. So, while it doesn't necessarily look very effective, at least it is very effective in slowing down the Peoria opportunity to score themselves.
Cagliari off to Walczak, spits it through. Slimmy will be there, but he'll let it go out of the back for the goal kick.
And they very nearly had a chance there. Walczak with his head to his hands after that pass that was just curled out a little bit in front of Jennings, who found some space in between 2 Peoria defenders. He would have been in on net with a better pass.
Gibson over to Jose Gomez. Here's Tommy Coughlin.
And Mike Pay for this Peoria team, he's pushing his players. He's saying get higher, get further up the pitch, because they're just not able to build anything really past the midfield line as of the last few moments, trying to set his players up deeper for some further down the line success.
I mean, it kind of has that feel that, not that FC Tucson's playing it in, but they're like, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to build through the midfield, which we know you don't necessarily want to do. And we'll try a long ball over the top. Forestier's there. Here's Walczak. And Forestier has to play it back to Jennings. This is the 30th minute here in this first half. DeAndre Pickett now against Justin Wilson. Maybe that last little flinch from Wilson was enough to shake Pickett's pass. Ball is near side to Charlie Dickerson. Dickerson fought off the ball. Cagliari does well for FC Tucson to win it back. Here's Jennings. Jennings with an open lane, and Jose Gomez pokes it free for a minute. Loading up, shot, and spat to the left. William Arneson giving it his first shot of the game. And outside of the first header from Wilson and then the Peoria City free kick, there haven't been too many close shots to goal yet.
There haven't been, and as mentioned, FC Tucson have been able to push the ball and control possession. But I will say the Peoria defensive midfielders are doing a good job of closing down the ball when in the last couple of attempts where Tucson have tried to attack down the middle, it's been Reddy and it's been Gomez that have just snuffed out the attack straight away.
Here's Coughlin. Off to Josh Reddy with a lot of room. Gets it outside to LaShoy. People calling for the cross. Inside. Headed away. It will go to the left of that corner marker. So it'll be a corner kick for Peoria City.
Yeah, you can see LaShoy was in sync there with Kulai. Kulai making a quick dive bomb run into the near post, trying to flick on that header. And the pass was intended in his direction, just a little too far out front, allows the defender to recover and head it away for a corner.
Peoria City hasn't scored on a ton of set pieces off corners this season. They have had a few. Abasa Aramia has scored the last one for Peoria City, and that came back in their road match against St. Charles. And about the second to last match week of the regular season. Gomez, outbreaker towards Abasa, nearly gets struck in. Wilson nearly pounded it into the upper 90. Excuse me, that was Persenico.
And just as you mentioned, Abasa's corner kick goal, he gets a good header off. It looked like it was cleared off the line. It wasn't necessarily the most powerful header, but it certainly challenged the Tucson defense, and then squirting back out for the striker, Persenico, who blasts it up into the trees.
He's had a productive playoffs, 4 goals in 3 matches.
Slightly impressive.
Most would say. LaShoy gets caught up. Here's Jennings. Chopped, and it'll be the first corner kick of the day for FC Tucson.
So now, just as we saw Peoria generate a chance off the corner, it's an opportunity for Tucson to work something for themselves here. It looks like it'll be Will Arneson taking the corner kick on the far side. We haven't called Arneson's name too much today, Cody. He hasn't really been too involved in the attack. They favored Cagliari and Jennings over the winger.
In-breaking ball from the far side of the field. Curls in well, but Gomez will play it forward and out for FC Tucson.
Well, that was a dangerous spot for that ball to fall just in front of the 6-yard box in the middle of the pitch, but no Tucson body there, and a clearance at the foot by the Peoria City defense.
Again, what wind there is bowling from right to left across your screen, so that had a ton of bend to it for it to curl in like that. Raul Bermudez with the give and go. Gomez wasn't fooled, and he'll send it back to Slimmy. Justin Wilson is fouled, and you have to figure partly that call is our field official got in the way just a bit of his run.
Yeah, I was going to say there were 2 obstructions on that play. Once by the player who committed the foul, and then our head referee who kind of tried to get out of the way, but in the end impeded on Wilson's ability to get to that ball quickly.
And neither team really pressing a ton in this first half, and we've seen that more frequently this postseason. Teams wanting to give themselves a chance to build a first goal and not surrender one.
Well, and given Peoria's ability to work quickly, I think for Tucson it's just a matter of not wanting to overcommit. You don't want to send too many numbers forward and then have one of these balls that they've been trying to play in behind work out nicely, and then you don't have the numbers to defend.
Here's Dickerson, crossed in a beauty last time, and that one's over everything and onto the back netting.
Yeah, he tried to curl that one around the right back, and I believe that was Pickett down there to defend. DeAndre Pickett making the challenge on Dickerson, but just unable.
Just as we say, not much of a press. Peoria City gets one. Persenico dancing. Persenico still dancing. Coughlin looking for help. He'll give it off to Gomez. So if this results in a goal, Peoria City will have their press to thank for it. Ready, chips it forward. Persenico went down in the box, and here comes Bermudez, playing it ahead to Cagliari. Cagliari puts on the afterburners. Cagliari still running, shot, blocked off it. Slimmy got a piece, but it came off the post.
And what a chance there for Tucson. It was 1-on-2 in Peoria's favor. I feel that Abasa has to be more just aggressive defending that, knowing he has Wes Gibson behind him, and it does appear like he's down on the play.
Abasa Armiao, who's coming fresh off the 1-game suspension for accumulating too many yellows, thus the red, in their match against the Menace. Maybe having some tight legs first time out. It is very muggy, humid here in Peoria today.
It certainly is, and maybe he was feeling some tightness, and it was part of the reason that maybe he didn't defend as aggressively as you'd think he would, because back on the play, you know, you had the striker in Cagliari just pushing to that near post side, and as I mentioned, they had Wes Gibson behind Abasa, and just allowing him to find that space on the near post and rifle a shot in there. Perhaps Peoria lucky it isn't 1-0 as we see the central defender back up to his feet.
So Abasa getting the Abasa chant from the 309. He's up and okay. Tucson, though, got to give them a lot of credit. They weathered the storm early. They had the close call go their direction with Justin Wilson's header and the Gomez free kick, but they've done well to dig themselves out of that hole, so to speak, and generate some real chances. They're now only one behind in the shot category.
Well, and it's kind of just been kind of a seesaw back and forth of which team controls momentum for 3 or 5 minutes. It hasn't been one-sided in any regard. We've seen moments where Peoria look on the doorstep and then just we blink and Tucson on the attack. So we'll see if the center back into action or if they'll make the substitution. But he walked off under his own power, but is on the sideline at the moment. So I'm sure Peoria will hope to get the ball forward, allow the center back as much time to recover as they can.
They went all of 95 minutes yesterday without him on the field at all, with LaShoy playing right back and Reddy playing center back out of position to hold off Flint City in the Central Conference Championship. Josh Reddy carries it forward. He has a lot of room. Still no Abasa at the sub table. So Peoria City for the time being playing with 10. Here's Joao Saraiva is getting ready to come into the game for Peoria City. Maybe that's a little more serious than we hoped for Abasa. Which means most likely that Reddy will resume his duties at center back. And they'll move Joao into the midfield. And Slemmy trying one over the top towards Justin Wilson. Justin Wilson! And he interfered with Roth. And his argument's going to be that ball took a bounce. I'm just trying to play that, but at the same time, you can't bring the keeper down.
Well, and it didn't even really look like there was that much contact there. It looked like Wilson was trying to get out of the way. Obviously, Roth has to go get that ball. He's certainly anticipating contact. But even with the foul, at least it did appear Wilson tried his best to avoid any, as we will see that substitution.
So Joao Saraiva enters the contest for Peoria City. He'll be one of those central attacking midfielders. Man who notched a hat trick in one of their exhibition matches this season against FC Springfield.
And as you mentioned, Reddy back into the left center back position, the 4-man back for this Peoria City defense. And I think the big question here is how will Tucson's attack vary with a smaller center back? Maybe you can try to power it into the middle a little bit more and try to win a battle with one of your attackers.
We've seen the size of Tucson give Peoria City problems already. That will belong with Tucson. DeAndre Pickett. Ball poked free. Coughlin trying to get it outside to Persenico as we were in the 40th minute in this first half. Give you a quick rundown of the first half stats. 6 shots, 1 save, 2 corners for Peoria City. 5 shots, 1 save, 1 corner for FC Tucson. Here's Jennings. He's made a couple really impressive runs. Now gets an impressive pass to Arneson. And he is tackled right before the penalty area. It will be a Tucson corner. Another Arneson corner. Last time this fell right in front of the 6 before being cleared by Gomez. High curler, back post, and DeAndre Pickett says he wishes he could have that one back.
Yeah, there were 2 Tucson bodies in there to just the one defender on the back post, and it was Pickett who rose up. Just a glancing header, didn't get the contact he would have wanted, and it just pushed it near post wide to the right side.
So Griffin, in your opinion, does either side push for one here right before the end of the half?
I mean, you're always pushing, Cody, but as far as trying to change what you've been doing, I don't necessarily think so at this juncture. Both teams have kind of settled into a state of comfortability, and I think what's working so far for both sides they should certainly stick to, at least for the 3 minutes and change left in the first half.
Getting ready for the 43rd minute. Haven't gotten any official word on the amount of extra time as Persenico working against DeAndre Pickett. He's switched sides now with Joao Saraiva into the game. Here is Saraiva. There's LaShoy. LaShoy forward to Wilson. Wilson fighting out of a tough space, and this will be a Josh Reddy long throw.
So it'll be a throw in, but I want to go back to the beginning of that attack, the long ball to Persenico. He looks so comfortable, doesn't he? On the ball, couple of fancy touches to put it on his right foot, and he's just playing with no fear out there, Cody. It's a guy who's in the brightest form of at least the recent part of his career, and he looks like a man that can't be stopped right now. If he can continue to find the ball in dangerous areas, Peoria will be in a good spot.
Reddy will get a slight start on that inclined plane. Flicked forward and onto the top netting. Charlie Dickerson got two underneath the ball, but it nearly floated down regardless.
Yeah, with such a long throw and there's so much time with the ball in the air, and as the left back, you have to time that jump perfectly. He struck the ball right after his apex. If you can get that when you're just reaching on your way up, you can head it down, but he's just starting to fall there, and in the last second kind of has to just nick it back post, hope he gets the lob header just right, and it's just a tad over.
Kulai thought he could have been possibly fouled. Instead, it's going to be a long run forward for Arneson. Now Jennings switches the play to Belmudez. He'll work against the Peoria City captain. Now here comes Kawamura. Cagliari giving go to Belmudez. Belmudez lays it off, shot, and it's high again. Tucson has had the better of the ball in the last 10-15 minutes, and they just keep arcing it a little high.
And the frustration boiling over from Belmudez there. He did such a good job to just move through the defenders. He barely touched the ball. He kept putting on dekes to throw off the defense, whereas in reality, he's just letting the ball take its natural course of motion. Lays it off to Arneson, who skies it, and just a yell of frustration at his teammate after seeing what essentially was a field goal being kicked here.
Reddy's pass forward didn't find much as we're near the end of the 45th minute. So only be 1 minute of extra time added back on. And we are now in stoppage time.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will be approximately 1 minute of stoppage time.
So Peoria City could have the last say of this half. They play it forward and behind to Persenico. Here's Saraiva, gets it to Kulai. Now wide to Persenico. Persenico still running on. Here's Persenico, puts on a shot, and it generates a Josh Reddy long throw.
And that's a tough angle to take with his left foot. Draws the throw in, but I would like to see him to move it just a little more inside.
Charlie Dickerson will put the last say into this half, trying to find some service in. Peoria City's bench is hollering for the cross. Here's Saraiva, he goes down, still here. Here's Kulai, things getting a little weird here towards the end of the first half. Kulai back inside, and it's loose, and it'll be a corner. It nearly became an own goal. Forrestier counting his lucky stars that didn't kiss off the inner half of his leg.
Yeah, the quality of play kind of diminishing here at the end of the first half, but it works out for DJ Kulai, who's able to rip a ball after making his defender fall over into the heart of the six, just unable to link up. But you're right, almost an own goal on the back post.
Low liner towards the front post. Here's Saraiva. It'll be a first half end. No second corner coming for Peoria City, but at the end of 45 minutes in this national semifinal, we're scoreless between Peoria City and FC Tucson.
Yeah, and a really solid first half. Both of these teams getting their chances. It's 50-50 right now. I mean, both of these teams, a national championship appearance on the line, which would be a first for either of these clubs. They've got nothing to lose. And putting it all out on the pitch, 45 minutes, maybe more. You never know. We'll see after the break.
With that, we will step aside for a short break as we get ready for a halftime talk with John Dorn coming up next. Again, it's 0-0 between Peoria City and FC Tucson.
Central Illinois, we're going to overtime. After 4 years of preps coverage in Central Illinois, Cliff Sports Media is ready for a new era. CSM Overtime.
What is CSM Overtime? We're going beyond the broadcast to give you in-depth coverage of your teams,
Your stories. Your stats and standings.
your highlights and action shots.
With your subscription, you'll get to see news and feature stories from all sports, up-to-date stats from around the area, and thoughtful analysis from our team of experts. As for our broadcast and social media coverage, it's only getting better.
With your support of Clutch Sports Media Overtime, we'll continue to grow our free broadcast coverage with more sports, more games, and more innovation.
And thanks to our partnership with Too Efficient Media, your social media feeds will be filled with Central Illinois' best sights and sounds. CSM Overtime will also give you access to full galleries from some of the most talented photographers and videographers in our region.
As the new season approaches, it's time for more.
More action, more stories.
More coverage of all Central Illinois sports. It's Clutch Sports Media Overtime.
Welcome back, fans, to Shea Stadium here in Peoria, Illinois, where we're scoreless at the break between Peoria City and FC Tucson in this national semifinal of the USL 2 playoffs. I'm Cody Roskins. Joining me now, a very special guest, managing partner of Peoria City Soccer, John Dorn. John, thanks for joining us.
Of course. Great to be here. Great to be still playing and playing in Peoria.
We said in our open today, from 128 teams down to 4. For a club in its third year of playing at this level, what's that kind of mean to you to kind of see this community embrace the club? You and I had talked after the game on Friday about just what it meant to see the community take to this team so quickly.
Absolutely. You know, they always say you're on 3-year plans, and we have been. Jim Duros, Tim Regan, and I, when we got the project going, we were on a 3-year plan. Our 3-year plan was to have community engagement, some success on the field, maybe sneak into the playoffs and see what that's all about, and then hopefully from there build off that 3 years for the next 3 years. Well, clearly we're beyond that point, which is awesome. The community engagement is amazing. Word's getting out, within USL that there's something special going on here in Peoria, both on the field and off the field. The community's embraced the club, and the club certainly embraced it back. The atmosphere Friday night, in 23 seasons of being involved in USL 2 and PDL, its predecessor, that was as good a game on the field and as good an atmosphere off the field. And Coming from the technical side of the game, I've never been a big use the word intangible, but that intangible happened Friday night, because when we grabbed our goal and Coach Pay started to shut the game down. When I say shut it down, close it off, and defend hard and win every tackle. Our guys fed off the atmosphere in this place. To have 2,000 people here on a Friday night in the middle of the summer rooting on a bunch of college players that are trying to get to the next level, they fed off that. And as much a part of what happened on the field, the 12th man, the Shea Brigade and the 309ers, and the whole crowd did an awesome job. So to your question, yeah, we're ahead of where we're at, and we're real happy about that. And it's just awesome to see the Peoria soccer community and the Peoria community embrace the Carp, and our players appreciate that and are showing that on the field.
Now, obviously, as great of a year that this has been, again, doing more than just sneaking into the playoffs, more or less kicking the door down after your first-round match against Thunder Bay, who, again, Peoria City's only played 1 seed to this point, beating them all tonight. They're playing a 2 seed. Now, what's that kind of say about, the depth and growth of soccer in the United States? I talked to some of the coaches before the game about this, that it's just growing quickly and there's just not much of a drop-off anymore.
No, not at all. Every team, the league's up to 128 teams now, and because of the growth of youth academies, elite clubs, players just play, and more players playing. You're seeing a great product despite the increase in teams, but to be in the Final Four out of 128, that says an awful lot about what we're doing here. To win the Central Conference, to win the Central Conference Championship here Friday night, the Central Conference champion has been in the last 11 seasons the regular season champion, and I'm going to relate this to a Peoria. Some people in Peoria understand, and Bobby Parker helped me with this because he's Mr. Bradley. We beat the Michigan Bucks, the Flint City Bucks, Friday night. They're the leader in overall championships with 4. Right behind them, Des Moines with 2. And Thunder Bay has also won a championship. We beat 7 championships Friday night. And not just Friday night, over the course of the run here. Because of Bradley basketball and their previous success in March Madness, Bobby was talking about, Bradley's run in 06 when they beat Kansas and Pitt. We've done somewhat similar and at our level, and probably even more. No team has ever knocked the Bucks and Des Moines off in the same season in a generation of doing this. I had some successful clubs up in Chicago that competed with the Bucks in Des Moines, and we'd win a conference title every now and then. But no one's ever beat them both in the same year. We never did. No club has done that. And to start with Thunder Bay, who's always been a championship side and the most competitive team that comes out of Canada, and then to beat Des Moines, and then to come out here Friday night and knock off the Bucks. We're in the middle of something special. Somebody said, when does the magic happen? We're in the middle of the magic. Fortunately, in the USL 2, it's about a 2-week window because the playoffs are so tight. But we're in the middle of the magic right now, and hopefully today we can complete the results. Certainly, you see, it's interesting when you get to this point in the playoffs. You see clubs you've never seen before. They play a different way out west. Although you look at Tucson, they play very similar to us, a very top college player dominated program. Big, strong, physical. A lot of people assume when we won Friday night that we got this team playing here on Sunday. They just won the West Conference. They spent a weekend last weekend getting through their conference and then coming here and knocking off a fellow conference opponent Friday. So hopefully we can finish the result here. But where we're at overall after 3 seasons on and off the field, I can't say enough on behalf of my partners and everyone involved with Peoria City Football Club. We can't thank the community enough. We can't thank the players enough. There's something special going on, and this is just the start. If we're here in our third year and we can continue to attract, and I believe now that players come into Peoria and see what we're doing here, they're going to want to come here for the summer. We provide a first-class atmosphere for the players on the field. Thanks to Barbell and our major sponsors, they're able to use the physio, the physio part, which is important for a college player in the summer. They want to get better on the field, but they need to get ready for their college season, which is a strenuous 20-game, 3-month season. And then the fans. I mean, that atmosphere Friday night was as electric as could be.
Well, I can't thank you enough, John, for joining us here at halftime. Obviously, you'll be cheering on a Peoria City goal in the second half, but a good game's in store regardless. 45 minutes to go before we push somebody into the national title game. It's 0-0 between Peoria City and FC Tucson.
Central Illinois, we're going to overtime. After 4 years of preps coverage in Central Illinois, Clutch Sports Media is ready for a new era. CSM Overtime.
What is CSM Overtime? We're going beyond the broadcast to give you in-depth coverage of your teams,
Your stories, your stats and standings.
your highlights and action shots.
With your subscription, you'll get to see news and feature stories from all sports, up-to-date stats from around the area, and thoughtful analysis from our team of experts. As for our broadcast and social media coverage, it's only getting better.
With your support of Clutch Sports Media Overtime, we'll continue to grow our free broadcast coverage with more sports, more games, and more innovation.
And thanks to our partnership with Too Efficient Media, your social media feeds will be filled with Central Illinois' best sights and sounds. CSM Overtime will also give you access to full galleries from some of the most talented photographers and videographers in our region.
As the new season approaches, it's time for more.
More action, more stories.
More coverage of all Central Illinois sports. It's Clutch Sports Media Overtime.
With that, welcome back, fans, to Shea Stadium here in Peoria, Illinois, where again we're scoreless between Peoria City and FC Tucson in this national semifinal. Want to kind of break you down the table setting that we've gotten to this point. FC Tucson, you see on your screen now, the amount of droughts they have broken to this point, Griffin. They made 4 Western Conference Finals from 2014 to 2018. It's their first USL 2 playoff appearance since that mark, and they missed the playoffs by only 1 point last season. So after tumultuous, I'm sure, 365 days of wondering what could that one last point have done, here they are all the way in the national semifinal.
Well, they've certainly made it work, and it comes in part by, in a way that a lot of positive changes in organizations come from, a coaching change. Sebastian Pineda, first season at the helm, he's been around the team, he's gotten to experience the culture, see how the team works, the organization flows, but now he's in charge. First season after 2 years as an assistant, and he has taken the club to new heights.
Now on the other end for Peoria City, we don't have quite the French connection, but we do have the Clark connection here at Peoria City. There you see on your screen some of the contributors that have helped this Peoria City side get through. And Clark, just a small NAIA school out in Iowa, and all of a sudden Luke Persenico's a top goal scorer in the USL 2. Their head coach has got him in the national semifinal. Josh Reddy's had to play out of position to get him here. Those 5 to 6 guys you see on your screen have really done a lot of, not necessarily the big, dirty work, but they've done a lot of the uncharted work this season.
Well, and it's certainly fascinating, Cody, because you have guys that are just fresh, sometimes even in college still. They're playing against veterans that have played in the English pyramid. They've played internationally, and then you see them match right up and sometimes even surpass here on a huge stage. It's a beautiful thing about the game of soccer. Talent can come from truly anywhere, and Peoria City are certainly a showcase of that fact right there.
Well, we've only got about a minute left here before the halftime warm-ups conclude. It hasn't taken long for both teams to come out. They are anxious and ready to go. Here again in the second half is, again, we're scoreless in this national semifinal. FC Tucson is the first team to be fully out on the field. Peoria City, no, not far behind them. It's been a good crowd today. Many people bringing the umbrellas, I'm sure for dual reasons, right? They anticipated some storms in the early going of the day. Those quickly faded away. Now becoming more of a shade tree, as it is very muggy and direct sunlight here in central Illinois.
Yeah, it is a hot one, and you got to wonder how much that factors into the pace of play, the quality of play here on the pitch today. But, I mean, I'd rather have this than it be 45 degrees and hailing, so there's that.
Absolutely. As you know, in the Midwest, the joke is 4 seasons in a week, right? You could have anything between the snow, rain, straight sunshine, or just overcast skies. This is just quite the scene here in Peoria as the two teams have looking the part at least like they are ready to go. No more subs to read off, at least from the Peoria City side of things. For FC Tucson, not seeing any major moves yet. But at least for the time being, these two teams, much like they did in their first games, scoreless at the break. Both goals for FC Tucson came in about the last 60 minutes or so of their match. Peoria City, about the same. Both teams, again, just finishing up their final stretches as we get ready for the second half kickoff. It will be FC Tucson with the honor. Got to give a lot of credit out there today to Nils Roth for FC Tucson. Griffin had a couple of very good saves in that first 25 minutes before his side really kind of not necessarily took over, but really amped up the intensity in the last 20 minutes of the half.
And that goes for both goalkeepers. They've really saved their clubs between the sticks at times. And Nils Roth specifically, I mean, we've talked about it all weekend. He hasn't played much coming in. He's a veteran of the club, but he's been the backup for so long, shining in a huge spot for his side, making a huge couple of saves, or else this game would not be scoreless. And the same could be said about Sammy Slimmy after a chance midway through the first half nearly gave Tucson the lead.
We're underway in half number 2, 45 more minutes, or maybe more, to see what it'll take to find a champion out of this half of the bracket. Joao Saraiva giving Kawamura a lot of trouble along the back. You're starting to see necessarily Peoria City press. It's somehow forward to Persenico. Inside to Kulai. Kawamura was there.
And if you're a Peoria City supporter, you love the early pressure. You would like to see that ball from Persenico play a little more forwardly to Kulai to try to lead him in, but still some possible chance.
Joao Saraiva, he's not the tallest man out of the midfield, but he is definitely being a pest. As Cagliari gets the ball at his feet, ready with the strong tackle. And this is starting to look like some of what Peoria City brought out against Flint City. Just very assertive tackles within the lay of the law, and FC Tucson will have to combat that physicality, but they're very physical along the front line.
Yeah, well, and maybe even the slightest bit of a blessing in disguise with Abasa going down. You bring in the attacking midfielder, you move ready to the back line, and Saraiva has been very, very aggressive, and it's the fresh legs that hadn't come from the rest of the squad after being out there for 35 more minutes.
Here's Jonas Lashoy. It's batted out of play by Walczek, and it'll be a Josh Reddy long throw, you would have to think. As we've said it a few times throughout the playoffs, but much like a pitching coach on his way to the mound or a bullpen arm out of the outfield, Reddy makes the long walk from the back line to take the long throw. Had a few dangerous looks off the throw in the first half. Ready, low liner towards Wilson, still loose, Kulai blocked! DeAndre Pickett did just enough.
And that is honestly shocking that that ball hasn't found the frame of the net. The ball bounces through 2 times. Just a complete gaffe of a mistake from the back line and all of the bodies in the box. But it's teed right up for the half volley from DJ Kulai, and you feel that he can't miss, but right into the right back.
Another long throw in, headed away by Pickett. Jose Gomez out wide to Reddy, stabs it forward. Persenico! Luke Persenico! How do you do? It's 1-0 City.
It's a guy that you feel he can do anything at the moment, and he surely put that on display right there. I don't know whether to call that an overhead kick. It was kind of at a 3/4 angle, contorting his body nearly upside down. An incredible strike from the forward, and somehow, some way sneaks it into the far post. And Peoria have a dream start to the second half here in the national semifinal.
Luke Persenico, just a kid from Clark. It was said by the USL2 in an article earlier this season that it would take more than him to get him to the promised land. Well, so far in the postseason, that's not been the case. 5 goals in as many matches.
That is absolutely superb, and he's just looks so comfortable. And just to come out there and have the guts to take a strike like that, this place erupted just a moment ago, Cody.
Walczek called for the foul. City going quick out wide to Dickerson, trying to find a second. Near side to LaShoy. LaShoy against Forestier. Take one touch, whip it back inside. Persenico was there again with Kulai, and it'll be a Peoria City throw-in.
These next 5 minutes are so important, Cody, because there's so much life in this building right now, so much energy in this squad. If they can keep the momentum for 5-10 minutes, really make Tucson work, then they will be in a superb position.
Kulai back to the goal scorer, Persenico. Now Dickerson. Here's Coughlin to Kulai to Wilson. Wilson puts on a shot. It's blocked, flicked forward, again blocked. And Kawamura took the brunt of them both. Cagliari going against the physical Wes Gibson, and a foul on Joao Saraiva. That'll go down as a 47th minute second half goal by Persenico. As the wind's starting to pick up in gusts now. Joao Bermudez, strong run here for FC Tucson, played through Cagliari, but Reddy's there to the rescue. It will belong to City, and he gets a double, I guess, low 5 from his team captain.
And this is what I'm talking about, Cody. You know, it's so important these few minutes. You gotta maintain the pressure, but you can't be so focused on attack that you fall asleep on the back line. We saw Cagliari almost find his way in on goal, and right up top of the 18, a dangerous chance for Tucson.
Peoria City has scored in every single second half throughout the regular season and postseason, except for one match. So their streak of that continues, and it's a staple of a Mike Pay team. Try and hunt that goal in the first half. Press your way to a goal in the second half. Finding its way to Gomez. Gomez still loose. Saraiva gets it to Gomez. Persenico! Oh my goodness! Luke Persenico has his brace. It didn't take long for Luke Persenico to make his impact in half number 2. He puts them 2 to the good, and Peoria City's so close they can taste it.
And it's a man who cannot miss right now in Luke Persenico. Just drills it far post, a low ball. He doesn't have to put it top bins, he just has to put it on net. And he finds the far post. And I want to bring it back to the touch from Saraiva. Brings it down, but he doesn't just bring it down with his thigh, he pushes it to Jose Gomez with his thigh, a tough touch. They work it to the left side of the box, and Persenico does the rest. A brace in what, under 5 minutes? And Peoria, as you said, can taste a national championship berth.
I think I said it unintentionally in the run of goal, but Luke Persenico, my goodness. Long ball over the top. Tucson trying to answer in a big way. Gomez gets the credit for the assist. Tucson back inside, and Tucson claws one back. It didn't take long, and the boys from the Southwest make it a 1-goal game.
Hold your horses. What a response from Tucson. And Sammy Slimmy putting his hands up. I don't think he realized what happened. I don't know how you can let that happen. The ball's just played behind him inside of the near post. Couldn't quite tell if it took a touch in the end or if it just found the back of the net. But Slimmy has to be on his post in that situation. It's unforgivable.
So that will go as a goal for Will Arneson. And it's been said in soccer, perhaps the most dangerous lead is a 2-goal lead. These two teams went 45 minutes without a goal in the first half. We've gone less than 10 with 3 goals in the second half. Kawamura, he runs through the midfield. Kawamura.
And now as Peoria City, you have to find your composure back, and they're going to do the smart thing and slow it down. Let Sammy Slimmy bark out some orders, but this Tucson team needs to continue to press. They've got Peoria second-guessing themselves after that mistake, and they need to capitalize before Peoria can steal momentum back.
Going back to the threatening goal scorer, Persenico along the far side. So Arneson will get credit for the goal. Getting up and down now. This is what we thought we'd have more of in the first half. Two similarly minded teams. Never really found a chance to get moving in the first half. Here in the second half, they're off and running.
Well, and the more this game spreads out, the more it plays into the favor of both sides. It plays to both teams' strengths. Peoria love to move quick. We've seen it now a couple of times. And for Tucson on the other side of the ball, if the quality diminishes, if they can force mistakes, if they can force the game to speed up when Peoria doesn't want it to, then Tucson will have a shot to find this equalizer and maybe more.
Oh, flicked forward, Wilson. Wilson running strong, and it's a foul on Wilson. Probably the right call, but that's one of those 50-50 balls off the second deflection that Tucson was so worried about.
And a loud crowd reaction after the foul call. They felt that the center back was bailed out, one of the more louder non-goal responses I've seen from the fans.
Oh, it's Kulai. Could there be a third goal for Peoria City? Kulai back heel to Persenico, who I don't think was expecting it.
Well, but you know who was expecting it? The right back. He was all over that pass. And I can't quite see the number down there. I believe that it is DeAndre Pickett, who just completely read that back heel from Kulai and made the takeaway happen.
Chance inside again. Chipped back post to Saraiva. Oh, LaShoy tapped back inside. Roth was there.
Now that is some of the best passing I've seen in this game. They set up the little triangle between Coughlin, between Saraiva, and then LaShoy, and it's just a give and go, and they push it out wide to LaShoy, who's able to get some really quality service in from the right side, and it's the steady hands of the keeper, Roth, who's able to push it out for another corner.
Near side corner for Jose Gomez. And if you're just tuning into the second half, Cody Roskins and Griffin Leonard 3 goals since the halftime break. Saw this game break open. Coughlin gives it away. Here's Joao Bermudez. Jennings on his hip. Strong tackle. Saves what could have been a breakaway goal.
He makes up for his mistake. It was a terrible touch. He was unsure whether or not to go back to the keeper, but then a poor touch on the other end from the attacker, and chasing it down and saving the day is Coughlin.
Justin Wilson. Back inside to Gomez. Takes a tough touch. Wilson claims it in a lot of space. Swings it out wide to Persenico. Persenico. Step, back to Dickerson. He chips it inside to Kulai. Wilson tried to get on the bicycle.
Inspired perhaps by his teammate there, but not enough room. He was suffocated by the defender, couldn't really push his body the way he wanted
Perhaps
to.
caught out the back. Here's James Jennings. James Jennings floats it a little too softly to Slimmy. Wow, this game's getting up and down, Griffin.
It's really heating up here, and it's becoming increasingly more entertaining, Cody. But on that play, Jennings tries to chip Slimmy, and he had a couple of passing options to his left. Just his vision blocked out by the left back in that situation, and thinks his only option is to go for goal.
Kulai will pressure Thomas Gray. Oh, and it's flicked forward. Cagliari, up and down the field we go. Gibson's got to be there. Put backside, and nobody was making the second run.
And that is a very tough angle on the left foot. It has to be placed perfectly and hard, because the softer that ball is, the more it's naturally going to curl away from the far post. Gibson does a good enough job to close down the angle, and the perfect shot is not there from Cagliari.
Slimmy sends the low liner across midfield. Sriva wins the first header, flicked forward to Kulai, and Roth was there on his horse.
I feel like both defensive lines have just disappeared off this pitch. There's so many players congested up in the midfield, and then suddenly we see a long ball, and it's 2-on-1 on the other side of the pitch. So it does feel like it's only a matter of time before we see another one from one of these teams.
Kawamura, he's been good in the midfield, lays it all the way back to Roth, trying to give his back line some room to breathe and time to breathe. A lot of space here to Bermudez. James Jennings. Jennings near side. Forestier back outside. Goal scorer Arsenin. He chipped, it's blocked, and it rolls on top of the netting for a corner. Be a far-sided corner for Joao Bermudez. Peoria City was really good on set-piece defense last night. They had a few close calls with players playing out of position. They're essentially back in that spot today with Abasa being hurt in the first half. Sammy Slimmy interfered with and got more or less clubbed, him and LaShoy both, but it dances over the top of goal.
Yeah, Slimmy looks like he took the hardest of that contact, and fair play from Cagliari to make sure the keeper is okay as they made some contact. Had the foul not been called, very dangerous little flick header that ended up dinking off the top part of the crossbar and over. Slimmy has the ball and appears to be okay to continue.
Sammy Slimmy has it teed up. Low liner. Takes one bounce before midfield. Kawamura. TJ Kulai and Persenico will chase DeAndre Pickett. It's outside to Charlie Dickerson. Kulai going outside to Persenico. Nice ball in. Liner towards Wilson. Corner for the Carp.
And you can see Wilson so dangerous there on the front edge of the 6, just pushing himself in front of the center back at the right moment, right after the pass is played, so he remains onside and finds the better position. However, the pass just a little bit behind the striker and pushed out for a corner.
Jose Gomez will make the walk to the far side for the corner. 2 goals already on this end of the field by Peoria City. Again, neither team scored in the first half. It was a 47th and 41st minute goal by Persenico, followed by a 54th minute goal. This header flicked inside and over top of goal from Reddy and Dickerson. Let's see this game 2-1.
Well, and the attention on the near post corner was on Dickerson, so when the ball just narrowly got over his head, Reddy didn't necessarily find himself unmarked, but he certainly found himself with an opportunity to head the ball goalwards and just caught the ball a little under it with his forehead, and it sails over into the 309. And I will say, Cody, it's incredible. We still have probably half an hour left in this game at stoppage time.
Ball chipped ahead towards Persenico, and Kulai spat free to Roth. Here's James Jennings. He's tackled from behind. A little frustration from Walczyk. He thought they had some forward momentum. Saraiva swings it back to Persenico. Persenico stopped by Roth. That's another Peoria City corner.
And as soon as Persenico picks up that ball, you know he's got to hit it. And why not? Why not with the way he's been playing? Tries to drive it to the near post. Roth in a good enough position to dive down to his right side and parry it away. And it is another corner for this Peoria team that have looked increasingly dangerous, I might add, from set pieces.
Gomez gives the ball almost a basketball twirl on his fingers as he gets set to swing his right foot into this one. Again, what wind there is still blowing from right to left, more towards our backs now. So see that corner flag whipping. Gomez curls it back. Reddy almost had it. Picking their spots again, Griffin.
Yeah, collective gasp from the fans in attendance here at Shea Stadium. Completely unmarked. Everyone looking around in the Tucson defense like who's going to be the one to clear it away. And it was very nearly Josh Reddy who came in with the flying volley on the back post. Just couldn't quite put it on frame.
That one didn't find a ton of space. Here's Gomez to Persenico. It will belong to FC Tucson, who have weathered a bit of a storm after going down 2-0. They score immediately to draw one back as we have a couple of subs getting ready to check into the match. For Peoria City, it'll be number 16, Miles Safanovong, getting ready to relieve Justin Wilson. For the visitors, FC Tucson, it'll be Ismael Ruiz and Joao Neves Santos.
And now out of these substitutions, one certainly stands out. Cody, Joao Neves, the winning goal off of the bench last match for Tucson against Project 510. He won it off the bench as a sub and will certainly be looking to make an impact once again. Tucson find themselves trailing by a goal in the second half and 25 minutes to erase the deficit.
Near side, Safanovong will check him. Choi and Safanovong getting in the mix. Now Safanovong, the Peoria native, whipping a long one forward that gets caught up in the wind to Persenico. Wonder where they're going to try and go on offense, Griffin. Jose Gomez. Josh Reddy gets it to LaShoy. LaShoy back inside. It's a third. He has the Hattie. Peoria City reclaims the 2-goal lead, and Luke Persenico has his playoff hat trick. Take a bow, young man.
And it's such a dangerous ball whenever you're able to push the ball low and hard down the face of the 6, across the face of the goaltender who can do nothing about it. And of course it finds Persenico. A playoff performance, not just today, but over the course of this playoffs for the ages. A man, you'll never forget the name.
Luke Persenico. A kid from St. Charles, Illinois, and Clark just continues to impress on one of the USL 2's biggest stages. 3-1 now in Peoria as the home-sided Carp try and see out this 2-goal lead. DJ Kulai will try and run onto it from LaShoy. So we go 68th minute in Peoria. And a foul on Tommy Coughlin.
And you will feel the wind out of the sails a little bit for Tucson here. They got the quick goal back after it was 2-0. Not necessarily one that was maybe the most deserved, but here a chance.
Walczek trying to get another one back. Here's Jennings, headed away by LaShoy. That one swung on and a corner.
Yeah, LaShoy, the last line of defense, just getting to that one to head it away. But back to my point, you have another goal from Peoria City, and now the deficit will just feel that much greater for Tucson, who after that first goal struggled to generate many chances. And now a long ways back for the boys in gray.
They scored one immediately after Peoria City's second to make it a 1-goal game again. They've got to figure do it quicker than later. They're going to have a chance late in this one. Whipped back inside. Header towards the near post. The back post. Sammy Slimmy saw it well, but still gave some of the folks in attendance a slight scare.
Yeah, and a little bit of frustration after that from Thomas Gray, who found himself pretty open in the middle of the box, got the header off, but pushed it to his right wide and kind of just threw his hands up, and he knows that was an opportunity to get one right back again.
Slimmy. To Persenico. And if you're just tuning in the second half, boy, do we have some stuff to update you on. 47th minute, 51st minute, 66th minute goals by Luke Persenico to give him a postseason hat trick. A 54th minute goal by FC Tucson's Arneson. Make it 3-1. It's the most goals that Peoria City has scored since their matchup with the Menace. Go ahead, Griffin.
Oh, I was just going to say, that when you think about that, the Menace game, 5 goals in that match. You had another 3 here, 2 against Thunder Bay and another 1 against Flint City. What an offensive clinic to put them in a position where they're now just 20 minutes away from a final berth. And the offense has been absolutely extraordinary to get them to this point.
Jonas LaShoy. Hollering out for DJ, maybe perhaps coming back in assistance. And a foul against Walczek. Jose Gomez with the free kick for Peoria City. Cuts it to Persenico. Headed back into Dickerson, who tried it. Kulai off the line, and it's in! Peoria City gets a 4th. It just doesn't stop in half number 2 as Peoria City's Cinderella season continues in a big way here in the second half. And FC Tucson's on the ropes.
And every bounce breaking the way of these Carp. The ball was played back post to Persenico, who played it down to Kulai, who had an initial effort, and then just the clearance. Not sure who's going to get the own goal for that. It's just really unfortunate. Now, I will mention there were appeals for a foul that were honestly somewhat justified. When the ball went to the back post, Persenico pushed off of his defender to free himself up for some space. No whistle, and it allows for the setup for the goal.
So call it 4-1 Peoria City, and they're so close. Again, they can taste it. They are just a handful of, call it 15 minutes and change away from their first ever berth in the national title game. So it is officially going down as an own goal on FC Tucson.
And I think it happened so fast, Cody, that our official scores don't know who was off either. I guess they'd have to go back and watch the stream and slow that thing down.
Well, we said in the first half there was nearly an own goal off the last corner of the half. DJ Kulai was the man that had the last swing on it, but like you said, went careening off of one of the members of Tucson. 20 shots in the game for Peoria City, just an unreal amount from what they've had so far in the playoffs. Forestier going near side, and that was headed so well by Jennings. I think it surprised him.
Yeah, such a good header by Jennings. It deserved to be a goal. A nice curled in ball, an outswinger that found the head of Jennings, who pushed it goalwards, but just couldn't hook it into the frame of the net, missed it a little bit wide to the near post. But one of the better headers that we've seen in this match, just couldn't get the reward, and now Jennings will exit this match as part of a double substitution.
So 19 and 31 in, Braden Sanchez and Diego Veliz will come into the game, and I've gotten word that own goal will go off of Kawamura. Number 24 for Tucson will claim that mark for FC Tucson. Tucson throwing everything to the wind now. They've got to get forward and attack with some potency. And a foul against Jonas Lashaw. Neves Santos will let Forestier take it again. He struck it well for service towards Jennings. He is no longer in the field of play after being subbed off just a few minutes ago. Forestier headed away by Reddy. Kawamura poked free. Here's a chance for City. Running over their own players, Peoria City. And Joao Saraiva thought he had a breakaway.
Well, it was nearly a chance, but Peoria they almost fouled themselves in the build-up, trying to run through the midfield. Two players collide.
Gomez out to Persenico. Will dance and stay in. 15 minutes left. It's 4-1 to the Central Conference champions over their visitors from the Western Conference. Another long ball to Walczak, and Gibson does well to give Sammy Slimmy an extra step or two. Forestier. Good advance forward, Reddy. And an easy foul on Reddy. As both look to take a little bit of the blunt there, and they will have to halt play.
Yeah, Tucson wanted to play that one quickly, but our referee just slowing it down due to the potential injury. Walczak was very slow to get up. He's okay now adjusting his shin guards, but down on the play, the referee didn't want to take any chances.
77th minute. Miles Safanovong. DJ Kulai has his pocket picked by Walczak. Oh, and now this knee on the near side to Tommy Coughlin, and a laying out effort from Ellis Jones. Ball on that far side from Ruiz goes out of play. Well, Griffin, we didn't really anticipate this much action in the second half. 4-1, Peoria City, at least for the time being, seeing themselves through. It'll take a very large effort from FC Tucson to come all the way back, but Peoria City has surrendered multi-goal leads in the playoffs already this year.
Yeah, well, when you were on at halftime with Mr. Dorn, I was down in the press box talking with some people, and I said that I wouldn't be surprised with all the chances if we saw a barrage in the second half, but I don't know if I was necessarily anticipating one to this extent. Just an absolute offensive clinic. Obviously, the own goal doesn't help either, but Persenico has come alive, and the rest of his team has backed him up here as they sit in comfortable position to advance.
And again, just as a reminder as how both teams got here, Peoria City was not locked into the postseason until about the last match day of the year after a victory against Sueño FC saw them clinch enough points to get through. They were also so close to getting the menace and owning the Heartland outright. So that fine line of 24 points of not making the playoffs and being division champions, now they're on the precipice of the whole thing.
Yeah, well, it's one of those cliches. A win is a win. I mean, you look at Des Moines, and after the 122nd minute goal, like they could have and maybe should have, depending on the discretion of the referee, been out there after that what appeared to be the game winner. But they kept fighting, kept playing as if there was no tomorrow, which at that moment was the case, and now they've certainly made the most of the situation that they've earned themselves.
Forced steer backside in the 79th minute. That's Cagliari there in support. Kawamura. Laid inside again. You kind of see Peoria City giving the cushion, but once you get to the 18, you're going to be man-marked.
Yeah, well, and they're stacking the box here. They're parking the bus, so to speak, in the box. There's no reason to leave man open in the box right now for Tucson, whose offense has really just become one-dimensional, but there's a nice little rainbow flick, unable to keep it over the end line. But they're just pushing the ball to the wing, trying to find space to cross it into the middle, but there's 6 or 7 guys in black sitting there waiting for it by the time Tucson are able to set something up, and it's just not a recipe for success for the visitors.
Sammy Slimmy will have it teed up as we go just about to the end of the 80th minute. And while the match isn't over, FC Tucson definitely has the firepower to come back. It's looking very grim for the boys out of the Southwest and the champions of the Western Conference. But at the end of the day, there may be no player on a bigger heat streak, I guess, right now than Luke Persenico. 3 goals today. Was a big facet of the own goal off of Kawamura. He scored 6 goals in as many playoff games, dating back to the match with Thunder Bay. Ball over the top. Takes one high hop towards Slimmy. Well done on the run. He's from Walcheck to try and get in on it. And now the 309 have started up the "When the Carp Goes Swimming In" chant, a fan favorite of the 309.
And it does sound somewhat similar to another well-known chant, but I'll let it slide. It sounds good.
Ball chipped ahead, Cagliari. He's been so impressive in these playoffs, a physical force as that striker spot / center forward. Line towards Slimmy, off the redirect by Dickerson. Give you a quick rundown of the stats on the scoreboard. Again, these aren't official, just what we've kept in-house so far. 20 shots, 2 saves, 6 corners for Peoria City. 12 shots, 3 saves, 4 corners for FC Tucson. Now Neves Santos. For a steer again. Lars Walczek. Tucson hollering for players to get in the box. Dished short. DJ Kulai to Saraiva. Essentially an extended game of keep away right now for Peoria City. Griffin will anticipate probably 3 to 4 minutes of stoppage time added back on.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. Depending on how close this game gets, potentially due to the high impact of this match, we could maybe see a little bit more. There have been a few stoppages, but obviously the wider the margin of goals in the game, the less that the referees are maybe going to add on every single second.
Neves Santos loads up. Lays it off to Ellis Jones. Jones chipped backside, and Sammy Slimmy, like a wide receiver, just goes up with 2 hands and comes down.
Well, and that cross right there, it sums up how the second half has gone for Tucson. It's just miscommunication. There's 3 or 4 bodies in the box for the visitors, but they all run near post. The ball's floated to the back post, and regardless of Sammy Slimmy's ability to go get it, even if he wasn't able to make the play himself, there was just no one in the vicinity to make the header and make the play for Tucson.
Neves Santos out wide. Ismael Ruiz. You kind of see the heavy legs starting to set in. Ball tried to get played to DJ Kulai, and Persenico had eyes on his fourth as he was hollering at Saraiva to switch the play. And offsides.
Yeah, a lot of walking bodies for Tucson, who will watch what looks to be a quadruple substitution here from Peoria. But for Tucson, a lot of walking bodies. The pace of play is slowed for them, and on that, the striker Cagliari was not the intended pass. The pass behind the intended runner, and walking back on the play, Cagliari is offside.
Michael Cardit, Danny Sergev, Alonzo Campos, all heading into the game for Peoria City, getting some of the big guns a breather. Luke Persenico giving his collegiate head coach a big warm embrace along the sideline. His afternoon is done. So again, it's Campos, Sergev, Cardit, all coming into the match for Peoria City. Running through space. 86th minute.
And I like the run there from the substitute. I believe that was Ruiz making the run and maybe trying to catch the fresh legs of Peoria, a little off guard fresh into the game, but unable to make it through the whole line in the end solo.
Joe McInnes also in the game for Peoria City after that last quadruple switch. Again, the tired legs kind of coming into effect here late in the match. It's not over yet, but again, it would take a superhuman effort to draw something close to a threatening finish for FC Tucson. But they've had a phenomenal season to this point. Nearly won out the Southwest Division, and had it not been for a really, really tough side in Ventura County. Won their way through the Western Conference. Champions of that, no one can take that away from them. But ultimately, the furthest they've ever been in this postseason.
Yeah, well, and barring a miracle here, they will look back on this match disappointed. But in the long term, it'll be something they see past. I mean, it's a season, as you mentioned, they took on and defeated Ventura County, and there's a reason that from all the way out in southern Arizona, they're playing here in Illinois. They've made it through their region. They made it through their conference. They've made it to this stage, and that's something that no one, as you mentioned, can take away from them, and it's something to hold your head high.
Definitely a program with a lot of promise, a lot of history, landed so many droughts, making the playoffs for the first time since 2018. We touched on it at halftime, the amount of conference titles they've had, postseason berths, first times in a long time. For many of those accolades, as Cardit goes out of play, possession to Peoria City. On the other hand, Peoria City's just probably less than 10 minutes away after stoppage time from playing for a national championship. What a statement it has been for Peoria City. Managing partner John Dorn told us at halftime they're well ahead of schedule. This ball falls in towards Sergev. Danny walling it off, lays it off, card it, fakes, outside to Saraiva. Chipped back post, and it's off the woodwork. McInnes, it's a fifth! It's the Western Illinois Leatherneck, Joe McInnes, puts it across the line. It's 5-1 Peoria City.
It's absolutely relentless. One header, no. Two headers off the post. And just sitting up there, the keeper, Roth, who has his hands on his hips, just trying to lunge and make the last-second save, but it was not to be. The final header goes in, and the 309 and the rest of Shea Stadium erupt for a fifth time this afternoon.
Gibson chips it ahead. While Saraiva will get credit for the assist. 90th minute we go.
I feel like with as many times as he headed that ball, he kind of assisted himself.
Want to give a quick shout out to the greater Peoria community for coming out to this one. 1,300 strong have cheered on the Carp to a 5-1 advantage and a berth in the USL 2 national title game. Low tackle in as we go the last 15 seconds here in the 90th minute before time is officially kept on the field. It'll be a Jonas LaShoy throw in. So we are officially in stoppage time. LaShoy dancing along the back in line. Well done by the Tucson defense. Again, time officially being kept on the field. Ball well outside. Chipped ahead. Slimmy will have it. It's all done, but the fat lady's singing now. Charlie Dickerson chipped overhead. Cardit tries to come on quick result. Back to the left, FC Tucson. Shifting the play out wide. The 309's about ready to rush the field here, Griffin. Headed back post and wide left. Field official takes a quick glance at his watch. Couldn't be long now. Sammy Slemmy with what could be one of the last swings of his leg before the national title game. And there is the foul. We got some of the fans excited. Griffin, it's been a pleasure calling these playoffs with you. We still don't know the destination. As there goes full time, Peoria City is moving on to the national championship. Joy on one side, despair on the other, but there's no doubt these two sides deserve to be here, Griffin.
What a second half, not just by Peoria, but by Tucson. They threw punches, they went nail for nail, and in the end, the Carp, just with too much firepower on the offensive side. What a match. What a victory for not just the club, the city of Peoria. And the crowd here in full, celebrating, and one more match in this season for these Carp.
Cinderella continues to swim on as it's Peoria City punching their ticket to the national championship game as the kids take the field. It was said at the start of the postseason by many in Peoria City staff it was going to take a community, a team, and a family effort to get this far. Griffin, they've done that.
They certainly have. The players, the front office, the fans in the stands, everyone has come together, not just over the last 2 weeks, but over the course of the season. What a culture that they've established here in the middle of central Illinois. Who would have thought? But Peoria City, 2,000 here Friday, 1,300 here today. Obviously, we don't know yet where the final will be held, but certainly eyes here in Peoria will be on the league office, who in the coming hours, days will make that decision. But certainly hopeful that some history could be made right here in the stadium.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Griffin. What we do know is that Peoria City will be playing in the national title game, and for everybody at our Clutch Sports media production, for Jonathan Michael, our producer, for Brock Stotlar, Paco Alonso, our camera ops, and for Griffin Leonard, I've been Cody Roskins, and it's a final from Peoria as the young Carps swim in to the national title game.